Okay. So Mom4 Service had never been on StreamYard on her phone before. So when she was leaving, she thought hitting end would end it for just her. She didn't realize it wouldn't end for just her. And she was signed in as me, so it literally ended the stream for everyone. I've restarted it, kind of. New stream. Maybe people will join, maybe they won't. I will pin the invite to the comments if anyone wants to join me. Load it over here and fix that. Oh no, my bald head's showing. Hey, George Ward, if you're interested in joining, the link I just posted in chat is available. I don't know if you've ever been on StreamYard live chat or StreamYard panels before. Clicking that link will take you to StreamYard. It will invite you or request that you possibly sign in. It's been a while. I don't know if I actually set it up to authenticate guest or not. So I can check real quick. Guests must authenticate is not checked. So you are welcome to join without being authenticated. Bummer. No worries. Let me go ahead and show your comments. Oh, I don't know if you were seeing my previous stream that just got inadvertently cut. Mom4 Service hadn't ever been on here on her phone, didn't realize pressing end ended the stream. So, well, here I am restarting it, hopefully getting some people back, but don't have to. I do appreciate that you're here. I was actually going through and sharing something. Oh, that would be cool. I'm a computer geek, and I was sharing this code. I don't know how much or if you can understand what's coded here. Starting here at the top, it's basically a comment that says rainbow effect on StreamYard. Click every pixel left to right and back. It's actually every other pixel. I have it do it by twos. Yeah, I hear you connecting. I see you. Adding you. Hello.
Come on, let me in.
Yeah, I surely did. Let me throw you that way now.
Am I in?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yes. About damn time.
Woo! Working pretty well. You got your camera this way, though.
Here's my little dog.
And a little puppy. Chihuahua.
He only weighs 4.5 pounds.
4.5 pounds. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Hang on here. I got my other part on. Oh, shit.
I don't know how well the stream's working. I'm not catching what you're saying very well. Let me throw on my other headphones.
All right, hang on. Is that better? Is that better? I turn off the other one. It's the other part I turned off.
No, maybe. Let me take those back off. I can hear you, and there's
okay.
Just a little delay in cutting, but
this is the first time I've been on panel with this phone.
Yeah.
I'm actually happy. I really am, because I thought I'd never get back on.
Right.
I don't know if I was in timeout by YouTube or something or what it was, but I can't get on anybody's panel. You're the first.
Are you? So is it an Android or iPhone?
I don't know. My sister got it for me. She pays the bill. I don't care what it is.
Well, does it have the Apple logo? That would be iPhone. No Apple logo?
No, I don't have no Apple on it.
All right, so it's probably Android. And if you're using Chrome as the browser, that could be one of the problems. StreamYard told me that it's best to use Firefox on Android, but hey, it seems to be working right now. So
that's cool.
You computer savvy at all? It doesn't sound like it. You just said no.
I'm on a cell phone. I don't have a computer or laptop or tablet or whatever you call it.
Yeah. Well, let me reshare this. Oh, not like that. There we go. So I was showing you this. Don't know how well you can read that being on a cell phone, but
No, I can't read that. That looked like a bunch of Japanese writing to me.
no, it's
Let me turn it sideways here.
yeah, sideways.
I still can't see it.
No, it's called.
I'm blind as a bat, man.
Let me turn. Oh, what? No, I don't want to show it. Oh, that's the problem. Viewing. Okay, let me.
All right, I'm gonna try to sit the phone down. I gotta roll me a cigarette here.
There we go.
It's a whole lot cheaper to roll than it is to
Oh, I know. I used to smoke.
buy them.
I'm the worst kind of smoker. I'm an ex-smoker.
I quit one time for 4 years and I gained almost 400 pounds. I'm down to about 200 now. I says, heck with that. I'll go back to smoking. I couldn't breathe when I was smoking. I couldn't breathe when I wasn't.
Wow.
I mean, the food tastes better, but I don't know.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna edit this and let's edit that again. I'm currently editing the title for the stream. There we go.
Oh, I can't even read all that. It's way too small.
Oh, well, that's a thing. Let's see. Wonder. That's better. How's
There
that?
we go. I can read it now.
This is called a script. It's a scripting language called AutoHotkey, and it's basically a rainbow effect for StreamYard. You can get it to move the mouse. That's what this mouse get position, my X, my Y. It basically assigns the values of the X and Y coordinates of your mouse to those variables, my X and my Y. And then it goes into a loop, infinite loop. Since there's no number here, I could put a number and it would just do it that many times. But it goes into a loop where it.
I have no idea what you're talking about. You confused the hell out of me already. I don't even understand my cell phone. Sometimes I screwed it up one time. I dropped my phone and I was trying to grab for it. And I grabbed it, but I looked at it and everything shut off. It wouldn't let me back on. And my little nephew had to come to my phone and fix it for me.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. Kids understand the phones and computers more than adults does.
Not all of us.
I don't understand them. I don't even know how to turn the computer on.
Well, I'll make it a little more simple. You see how my mouse is going back and forth, clicking a whole bunch of times, making things blink and flash like that?
Yeah.
That's just the automation. That's what this script, these words cause my mouse to do. That's literally what it's doing. It's going back and forth, clicking every 2 pixels. And
Why?
the purpose of that is, let me pin your comment on the stream here. There we go. The purpose of it doing that is for this, so that on my StreamYard streams, I can get it to do this. You see how?
Oh, I like the green. The green's cool.
Oh, just watch. Goes back and forth. It's a rainbow.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
It rotates back and forth in the rainbow.
I wish I could get a green wrench. I'm tired of damn blues.
A green what?
You know, like different color wrenches. I want a different color. I want something green. I'm tired of blue. I don't have a wrench on your channel, but I'm just saying. Hush. Damn, hush. You know how everybody's got a blue mod. They're always blue. I want to be green. I don't want to be blue. I'm tired of blue. How do they change those?
I do not know, actually. So you've seen other color wrenches?
No, I haven't seen other colors, but I want a different color.
Yeah.
Hang on here. What are you doing, Harry? Hang on. I got to let my nephew in. My God, boy. In, out, in. Ooh. Come on, though. Come on. Oh, my nephew just told me some good news, and somehow I just don't believe him yet. I had to find out if it's true or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, he over exaggerated a little bit.
Oh, he exaggerates.
Yeah, a little bit too far. He's got a lot of issues wrong with him.
Yeah. So do I.
I think we all do in a way.
Yeah.
Yours is probably military, isn't it?
No, so let's see. Back when I was of the age of joining the military, like under 35, is it? Whatever. Back when I was only 18, 19, or 20 or so, I really wanted to, because I knew that through the military you can actually get some pretty good self discipline and whatnot. But as I've aged, and now more recently, I've come to realize that you can only get self discipline in the military if you're predisposed to be able to do self discipline. But also, being in the military, it's not always necessarily just about, and I can't speak to it for sure because I wasn't. Maybe you were. But you don't necessarily learn self-discipline. You learn how to follow orders. So maybe there's more to it. In fact, I'm sure there's more to it. I just don't know. I never was.
I couldn't get into the military. When I turned 18, I tried. And the very last question they asked, "Are you a felony?" And I put yes. They said that was the wrong answer. They wadded out my paper right in front of me and threw it right in the garbage can.
Yeah.
And I go, "Well, my dad did. Why can't I?" "Well, that was during the war. This ain't the war." I go, "So?" It's the same principle. He joined the army.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand why a felon couldn't do it. That's kind of odd.
Well, actually, he joined the Navy, but you got to get into the Army before you get to the Navy part, I think, from my understanding. I don't know. I never been into it, never got close enough to it. He wouldn't ever tell me anything. He just kept it hush-hush.
Yeah.
Besides the strictness, that's about it.
Yeah, my older brother joined the Marines, wound up making it through boot camp, but barely by the skin of his flat feet and bad knees. And he was told by the medical personnel that after boot camp, things would slow down and his flat feet and knee issues would resolve themselves. Well, they didn't slow down, and his flat feet and knee issues did not resolve. And so he had to he wasn't proud of this, but he went AWOL to basically get out of the service. And he was initially discharged, dishonorably discharged, but because of his medical reason, they changed it to other than honorable. And so it was okay. It wasn't the best, but he really didn't want to quit, but he couldn't continue. His body wouldn't work. I believe he recognizes now it would have been better to go to the medical system and get discharged properly, but yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah. My dad got discharged, but I don't know what it was for. Even my brothers and sisters and stuff didn't even know what he got discharged for. He just never said. And we never found out till after he passes away what he was discharged, but it still didn't say what he was discharged on. That's weird.
Oh, that is odd. Hey, we got another observer, or two actually. No, one. One of them's me.
Yeah, the other one's me.
Are you actually still have the YouTube open in the background, or?
Yeah, I still got it, but there hadn't been no cops here lately in this hotel. I'm hoping all the good people leave so all the bad could come in so I could have something to do.
No, I'm talking about this current live stream that we're on together. YouTube is not currently open, so you're not actually still live streaming it on your phone. You're seeing.
Oh, okay, that's what
right
I
now
exited out. And
yeah.
Yeah, I exited out and came on this one.
Yeah. What you
Right.
did is
Okay.
What you did is you clicked the link in the live chat, which brought you out of YouTube and into this StreamYard.
Yeah.
So that's how we're communicating. So there's 3 current watchers, which means 2 of them are not me. Maybe one of them are you, but I suspect not. So
the other one might be just sitting back watching.
Yep, they're lurkers. They like watching. Anyway,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, that I'll do that time to time, but if you're gonna offer join the stream, I'll join. I'm an Audi.
Hey, this is the first time, like I said, this is the first time that I got on anything on a panel.
Yeah.
On this phone here. Now, my last phone was an AT&T. I don't know what service this is, but I just know this is the first time I got on anything with this phone.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was something I done that got kicked out or got put in timeout. I don't understand what I read. You know what I'm saying? They can send me all the email crap they want. I don't know how to get to that and actually look at it and read it. There's no telling what's on there.
Right.
I don't know anything about this phone. I have no clue.
I believe you. You said your sister's paying for it and gave it to you. You just know it seems to work.
Exactly. That's about it.
So I see there's now 4 watchers. Maybe more. In any case, if you're interested in joining the panel or being up and chatting, go and click the link there. If you're in Facebook, I cannot post there the StreamYard link. However, well, that's not entirely true. I'm a geek. I know how to do it.
What the hell did I just do?
I don't know. Did something. You are frozen, which means you may have to reload StreamYard. Yeah, he's gone. He'll be back, I'm sure. All right. Let me load my Facebook and post it there. Oh, yeah. Dad, you called me right as the video was starting. So I couldn't exactly answer. Hello, I see you. I hear you. I heard the bing. Somebody's back. It's you. There you are.
Yeah, I have no idea what the heck just happened. It just.
So rotate your phone. There you go. Hello. It gives a better view. I don't know if you knew that. So So how old are you, George, if you want to say? You don't have to.
51, getting ready to be 52 this year.
So
I
you're
still got that baby face. I can't grow what you could grow. If I grow something like that, I think I'll leave it alone and scare everybody around here.
I wish it would grow longer, but this is about it. This is as far as it comes. Basically, it said I'm not going up here no more. I'm coming down here.
Oh, I could grow this up here. I just can't grow
Shut up! I don't
up
want to
in
hear
here. I could shave maybe twice a year. That's it. Just shave my twigs. That's all I have. My dad never had anything. My brother don't have nothing. I guess there's too much in our system.
Oh no!
That's what everybody tells us.
Yeah. There's too much what in your system?
Like I don't know.
Oh,
my
melanin.
dad was part Cherokee or something. I don't know. I don't know how that crap works.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so your DNA is Native American.
Yeah. I used to get real dark, and everybody always asked me if my parents are mixed. But since I stay out of the sun and my body stays cold all the time, I want to stay in and stay warm. Right now, it's like 55 degrees, but it's got a real cold chill outside.
All right, I lost my audio. My dad's calling. One.
Good, I'll talk once on the chat. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, but shoot. Are you dropping your toys on purpose? Hmm? Are you dropping your toys on purpose? Well, Nicole, can you hear me? Am I even out there or am I on mute? Oh, cool. I didn't know that. How do you do that? You had to tell me when you get off.
There we go. Now you could probably hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I forgot to add my computer to the stream. That's why you couldn't hear me. All right, so yeah, my dad gave me a call just a moment
Oh,
ago.
that's good.
He called me right at the beginning of the previous stream, and I was just mentioning him in this stream right when he called me just now, so it's kind of funny. Anyway, what's up, Dad? Not much. Let's see here. So you've got an Apple phone. I do not know if you can join.
It might be an Android, wherever you call it, that A word.
Yeah, George, yours is an Android. My dad is. When I said you've got an Apple, I was talking about his.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old are you?
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. I was about to bring it up. So I am 8 years younger than you. I'm 43, going on 44 this year. So yeah.
Okay, my sister's 4 years younger than me.
My dad says I'm an old guy.
My baby sister.
Wait a second. Pot calling the kettle black? Wait a second.
Why do you keep throwing it on the floor?
Yeah, and then they'd be the ones that have the problem, not me, huh? I ain't saying what you said, Dad. Oh, are you on the stream again? Can you see what's going on? If I do this, can you see it? About 10 seconds later. What'd I do?
He could get online too and come on up.
Yeah, he's even less computer savvy than you are, George. He can't join.
Yeah, I understand how that feels. It took me a long time to learn how to figure this out.
Oh, you're gonna try to join, Dad? I posted the link in on Facebook. Yeah, I posted the link on Facebook and I posted the link on YouTube. So just depending on how you're watching, you could possibly connect. I know. He just said he can hear the lag time, George.
Do what?
My dad just mentioned he can hear the lag. What he's hearing is the delay, basically.
Oh, yeah, here. I can hold it up like this. Is that better?
No, he's talking about the lag between when we speak and when the live stream plays it out to everyone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the little lag. Okay.
Yeah.
Do I look like Chinese?
No. But then again, what do Chinese look like? I mean, they're like
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure there's plenty of diversity in the appearance of people that are Chinese. I don't know. I've never been to China.
I haven't either. Can't leave the country.
Went to Taiwan in '96. Went to South Africa in 2018 and India in 2020, February 2020, and wound up returning March 1st of 2020, which was excellent time. Had I stayed even 2 or 3 days more, I would have been stuck in India for up to 6 months.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah. Well, and a long time to be somewhere where you did not plan to be and do not have the funds to live on. It would have been interesting. So, yeah. Oh, no. We've frozen. Or you're reading.
No,
something.
I'm not frozen. I'm just holding still. I'm just sitting here. Most of the time I'm taking naps about this time. It just, I don't know, my schedule's been all screwed up.
Yeah.
One minute I sleep good at night and then I'm up during the day, and then the next minute I'm up all night and I sleep during the day. It just, I can't get one schedule. It just, I don't know what it is. It's stressing, I guess.
So here you are. Do you see this dot? Do you see that dot on your camera? That's because of the light right here. Your lens is creating a little dot that makes it look like your lens is got gunk on it. But if you put your hand up. Sorry, I'm trying to show you. If you put your hand up like this to block the light, that dot will disappear. So it's not your lens.
It might be 32.
It's not your lens. It's not your lens. It's the light in the background.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep, it disappeared.
Yeah, let me turn on the other one. Then you might not be able to see me, but then it might be better. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's much better.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have that dot on me no more.
Just got to show you this. Got that.
What is that?
That's a 10.2-inch ring light that I got along with this tripod for $13.
Where'd you get that at?
Amazon. I got 2 of them. The seller.
Oh, that's cool. I gotta check that out then.
Yeah, wish you could. The seller took down the product before I could get a third one.
Because I was getting ready to rig up something. I was getting ready to go get one of those things you put the little paint roller thing on and tie it, and you push the button and it raises it up, and you could
talk to you later, Dad.
move it up and down. I was going to take that, screw the piece in it because there's a flat piece on it, and then take that little bolt that screws up and glue it down, and then screw my piece onto it, and I got a phone holder. I was going to rig it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For something like this, yeah.
I mean, I got to hold it all the time, but at least it's on the ground and it's not moving around. People say that it moves around a lot, but I'm old. I'm getting shaky. What you doing, Mr. Bean? What you doing? What you doing?
I'm taking a look right now, see if I can find another deal like that. No, everything's over $34 right now. It's a bummer.
Well, I could always look at it later on. I've seen a camera on there I like to have, but it was like $90, but it's a 4K, it's YouTube capability. They had all kinds of little stuff, but it's like $90 for it. But I didn't know if I could go live with that camera or not. You know what I'm saying? If it says YouTube, does that mean I could get on, go live?
Maybe. It really depends on what the actual product is. I can't answer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd have to see what it was before I could give any kind of advice. I mean, if it says YouTube, maybe it's just saying as seen on YouTube kind of thing. I don't know. It really depends. I'm currently looking at a ring light, actually very similar to the one I've got, has the same brand, and it says light ring for video recording and live streaming, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, compatible with phones, cameras, and webcams. Well, it's also compatible with being just a lamp in the room. So my daughter uses her ring light, which I got 2 of them, as I mentioned, as a lamp for her computer area. So I use it for lighting on purpose for streaming like this.
Yeah, I'm happy. I got on panel. I'm so happy. Man, it's been a long time. It's been at least 6-7 months since I got on panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just insane. A lot of times I don't have a shirt on, but it's been cold here lately. It's not warmed up yet, or it's not warm enough for me yet.
Yeah, it's getting there here. I mean, I'm in Oregon. Trying to remember. No, it wasn't you. Never mind.
I'm from Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah.
4 days ago, we had 70-degree weather. 3 days ago, we had snow, and it's starting to warm back up again. It's like come on now. Where's my 70-degree weather? I'm ready to go out. Ready to roam. I thought about auditing the whole entire town since they don't like outsiders. And we moved into this place. But my goal is to go to California one day. I want to go down there and meet all the otters down that way.
Mexican.
Check them all out.
Hair, transparent. What else?
There's like SGV, there's Downey, PLA, UB Chillin. I want to go to all of them. I want to meet them all. I don't want to meet Silent Boy because he does food. I don't care about auditing a damn food place or auditing a bunch of people sitting on the sidewalk and eating. I don't want to record that. Hell, back in the day, if he'd done that to me, I'd done whooped his ass, took his camera, and it'd be thrown in the river somewhere. But now I understand the law a little bit better than what I did. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm starting to learn what 148G is and learn the different codes and what they mean and stuff like that. But I'm still learning. I mean, I'm not no pro at it. I'm pretty well a screwed up person, but I don't carry pepper spray or mace. I got my fist to take care of me.
I watched a Lackluster video, I think just this morning or last night, and learned that Colorado has removed, what is it called? The word, why can't I remember it? It's police accountability. It's police, where they're immune from certain things. They can't be charged with certain crimes because they didn't know any better. So, hey, Jose, you missed my earlier.
What's up, Jose?
You missed my earlier stream. My future wife decided to end the stream because she signed in as me and didn't know. And it was her first time. She hit the end and it ended the stream. So it was a bummer. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. Qualified immunity. So in Colorado, the police no longer have qualified immunity, and they're making, from the video I saw, better decisions, better choices. It was quite interesting. So it'd be nice if that happened in a lot of places, because I don't fully understand qualified immunity, but it's not cool. It's not a good thing from what I'm seeing. Police don't have to be responsible for their actions in some cases, so they get away with a lot of not cool. Hey, Jose, if you want to join, you're welcome. I did pin the StreamYard link there.
Come on up, Jose.
Be cool to hear your voice, won't you? But let's see. Let me go ahead and grab here. What was the guy's name that was modding everyone last night? I don't know if you were there, Jose. He does video. He does music. I forgot his name. Drat.
What does it start with?
Don't remember, but being a computer geek, I know where to find it. Just might be a moment. Go over here to YouTube history and find out.
I got so many people on my dang on channel. I bet you I got over 7,000 subscribers. And I can't even get 200 people on my dang on channel.
Wow, that's pretty good. All right. Okay. Oh, cool. I was wondering about this one, so I'll grab that YouTube channel. Conspiracy, yes, Conspiracy Media. Hey, Cheryl, you were there. That's right. Anyway, he modded everyone, and I thought that was an awesome idea.
Well, he done it so everybody can share everything together, and everybody can sub to everybody. But they don't do that. They want you to sub, but they don't really sub.
Oh, they do.
3 days later, it's gone. I mean, your numbers goes up and then go right back down. So mine's staying at 167 all the time.
So somebody explained that to me too. I think it was David on that stream with Conspiracy Media. David, last name forgotten, but in any case, he explained basically when you subscribe to someone, you need to also watch at least 3 minutes of their content, and then the subscription will remain, or has a high chance of remaining. And if you just go and arbitrarily subscribe to everyone that pop up in these chats, then there's the chance of it actually sticking isn't as high. So I was like, oh, that
I'll at least go in there and say hello, and maybe say hello in the comments on each and every one. I try to watch everybody's, but it's hard to do that when you got so many people.
It's an uphill struggle, huh? I can believe it. Now that there's a couple more people here, I want to show this real quick. I've shown it a few times now. You guys, if either of you use StreamYard, this is a neat feature I have petitioned and requested. Chances are they won't implement it, but you might like it. I showed George here a moment ago what it was. Let me, before I do that, switch to this. Nope, that. There we go. It's kind of a neat little script. It uses the StreamYard brand color system to adjust the color. And it looks as if it's fading from one color to another. But in reality, it's clicking every second pixel, left and right and left and right and left and right, all the way through the color spectrum that's offered. It's kind of a neat feature. Mrs. Yubi chillin said she liked it.
I like it. That's cool.
My ex-future wife is mentioning how that it could cause problems with the text, and well, that's true. But you'll notice it actually auto adjusts. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. To make sure that your subscription sticks. Don't just subscribe, but actually go watch it. And
now, if you want to watch something hilarious, if you ever go to my videos looking for someone, watch the video, because halfway through it, there's this cop came up that's got stripes. I asked him, I said, "What are y'all doing?" And he goes, "Looking for someone." I thought he said, "We're going to shoot someone." I go, "Woohoo, y'all going to shoot someone?" And he looked at me like I was crazy.
yeah, I think I don't remember if I saw that of your videos. Let me see, because right now I'm using my computer to generate this color slide. Let me show it real quick. Yeah. And so right here, there we go. Right there is the mouse going back and forth, just clicking on the color slide. And that's how it's generating the color change. And I showed George the code earlier. That's the code that's actually causing it to happen. Can anyone say computer geek? Yeah, exactly. George, Jose commented here. Don't know if you saw it.
I saw it.
Wouldn't be shooting unless they really had to. I'm with you. I'm with both of you. It's like, yeah, no. Did you really mean woot woot? You'll be shooting?
I said that too. I really said that. I said, "All right, you're going to shoot someone. All right." He said, "We're looking for someone." I went, "Oh, okay." And that's what I done. And that cop just looked at me and I walked away. That's all I done. I mean, that cop, it blew that cop's mind because I want to see some action.
Cheryl, you asked how long that song was stuck in your head. What song? You talking about a song Jose and you were on? I don't know if you're talking about Amazing Grace. That was stuck in my head for just a moment. I love the song, but let's see here. And we'll have to stop it. Spin it. Update it. And back over here. So now, Mr. George, I am going to go to your channel. If I can find it here. Let's see.
Just click on my name and it'll go straight to your channel and check it out if you want.
Go to your channel. Here we go. You remember the video name for where you said
looking for someone. It's the first one, not the part 2, but the first one. And the only thing they was looking for someone who stole a car.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And then they found out the car wasn't stolen in the first place.
Don't worry, be happy. You. So, okay, so that you're talking about this morning when you be chilling and his missus were doing their thing. No, that's
man, I keep missing them.
Yeah, the early morning. I've been up. I was up till about 2 p.m. No, 11:45 this morning. I finally got 2 hours of sleep before now. Yeah, no, the song didn't get stuck in my head, but I was trying to share it with everyone.
That song is good. Don't worry, be happy.
Yeah. No.
Something just happened.
Oops, I accidentally hit the back button in my browser on my phone. Let me rejoin the stream the right way. Here we go.
Have fun, Jose.
There we go. Remove me there. No echo. All right. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, Jose. Wait, bicycle ride or oh, he's probably gone.
Yeah,
he's got a bicycle.
Bicycle.
I don't know. Either way, it'd be fun.
I wish I was in shape to ride a bicycle.
Yeah. I'm currently 200 and somewhere around 260. And I believe I'm in shape to ride a bicycle. I may not be able to do it for long or far, but I can ride. Of course, my bike has a electric motor on it. No longer working.
Oh yeah, that's cheating.
No, it doesn't work anymore.
Oh, okay, that sucks.
Yeah, my I rented it out, I rented it out to someone, and they had an accident on it, winding up damaging the circuit, and it doesn't work real. All right, so what was I gonna do? So
I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go roam around a little bit and see what's going on in other channels. I done seen like 50 of them popped up.
YouTube notifications.
Oh yeah, all the notification keeps dinging over here on this end, but I don't know if y'all heard anything or not, but it comes up constantly.
Yeah. Well, what I'm gonna do is finish out what I initially started on my previous live stream, and that is showing why I plan to change back. Yeah, that is true. Wait a second, Cheryl. Where do you live? I'm in Oregon, Northern Oregon. And George here is in Kentucky, he says.
Yeah, the weather changes all the time in this place.
Yep. Yeah. However, today the weather is actually not yucky here. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's get a view of the weather out here. It might be yucky. Let me check. Oh, it is overcast, but there's some blue, maybe. Nope, no blue. I put this, I've done forgot the name of it. Emergency.
Looks like it knocks out the sun a lot. Looks like a tent.
What was that?
It looked like a tent you got on up here, like for a shade. It knocks the sun out.
Right. So on the window, I put emergency blankets. There's, forgot the name of it, the word for it, but in any case, it basically was to prevent it from getting too hot in the apartment, and it worked. Last summer, after putting it up, the air conditioners I have were able to keep the temperature down and at a livable temp. I enjoyed it.
All right, well, I'm going to get out here. I'll catch you later on. I'll see you on maybe a different channel.
Sounds good. Cheryl, if you want to join, you can. I did pin the comment. If not, I will go forward with sharing my, what's it called? My reason for possibly no longer doing First Amendment audits. I may be ending that soon, at least for my channel. Mylar, yes, that was the word, indeed. The Mylar blanket, possibly. Didn't say it in the description nor in any of the packaging, which the packaging was quite limited. Just a Ziploc baggie with something that I barely remember. It didn't actually say which way to put the blanket on. Had to look online for gold to the cold. So basically, if you're in a hot situation, the gold goes into you. If you're cold, yeah, I'll be keeping the channel. The content may be no longer purposely going for First Amendment auditing. Check out my previous live stream near the beginning, not too early, but near the beginning, I go through a little monologue explaining why. And I'm about to end that monologue, kind of, or explanation on this stream, showing my screen here. I received from, I've done forgotten, Amazing Facts. I received emails from Amazing Facts that I just subscribed to, and I came across this one, The Sinner's Need of Christ. And I read through it, and I found it was very inspiring. But this was not what ultimately led me to making this decision. It was part of it, though. It was definitely part of it. Let me go ahead and go back up here. Oh, I didn't give people necessarily enough time. If you need to see all this again, or you want to read it all, go ahead and just pause the video. You know that's doable, right? Moving on. Then I was reading this, The Sinner's Need of Christ. Wait a second. That's the same thing. Okay, so I clicked the link from the previous page. That brought me here. Same thing. So yeah, this is This is from, and we can see it here at the bottom, Amazing Facts. Oh, maybe you can't see it on the stream here at the bottom because of the banner. Go away. There we go. So here at the bottom, Amazing Facts. All right. I need to make a quick little adjustment. The banners. Oh, no. Oh, okay. So tickers do not shift the video, but banners would. That's interesting. If I save this and make it a banner, no, it just moves me up, not the video. Shared screen is not the same as a video now, is it? Okay. Learn as we go, right? All right. I'll put the ticker back on and continue forward here. So I read through this, but I also, here it was, the verse of the day. This is what led me further. He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not on the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. Gave a little bit of a neat little trick for trying to memorize the verse, and provided related resources. And that's where, in the description of my previous video, you can go, and I'll probably add it to this video too. Obviously, it would make sense. That video I watched through. I have not shared my system audio. There we go. Oh, I do want to see that. Let me check real quick. No other audio. There is other audio. Nope, I can't mute that. There. No. This is very tricky. All right, so you can't hear me echoing anymore. Let's see if you can hear this. I do not hear it. Huh.
Truly great, but the labors are few. So pray therefore the Lord of the harvest will send laborers out into his harvest. You can be one of them. So I'd like to encourage you to join us and be praying for the upcoming Prophecy Encounter meetings. For more information, check out www.prophecyencounter.com. And who knows, you might be revived in the process.
Okay, so before we continue on that, Cheryl, you mentioned you can read it. True, I can. But if you're talking about this, wait, are you saying you can read it or that people can read it on the stream? And we're waiting about 10 to 20 seconds if you're still responsive. Okay. So you're asking if I can read it, or you're suggesting that I can read it because the text is a bit small out there. That makes sense. All right. Something is wrong with this video. It's not letting me go full screen. There it goes. Okay. I just hadn't loaded it for a while. And we'll go over here. Yeah, I can read it for you. No problem. switch to the previous tab, wrong screen. Okay, put this back in full. All right, so I read the verse of the day to you. So I will go ahead and check. Cheryl, did I show you the rainbow sliding color for StreamYard? I think you were here when I showed that. So if anyone that is watching wants to know what I'm talking about, you can go back in the stream. I did read the verse of the day, so I will go ahead and read through the sinner's need of Christ. It's an average reading time of about 2 minutes. And I will share the screen there. This might help a little bit. Now you can probably read it along with me. The sinner's need of Christ, average reading time, about 2 minutes. And that he might reconcile both unto God in one. So I think this verse is missing a little bit. It should include where the and came from, because it's talking about reconcile both, meaning two things. So I kind of would like to know what the both means there. But since this is just about this particular sinner's need of Christ, we're going to move on. And that he might reconcile both unto God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. Ephesians 2:16. Man was originally endowed with noble powers and a well-balanced mind. He was perfect in his being and in harmony with God. His thoughts were pure, his aims holy. But through disobedience, his powers were perverted and selfishness took the place of love. His nature became so weakened through transgression that it was impossible for him in his own strength to resist the power of evil. He was made captive by Satan and would have remained so forever had not God specially interposed. It was the tempter's purpose to thwart the divine plan in man's creation and fill the earth with woe and desolation. And he would point to all this evil as the result of God's work in creating man. In his sinless state, man held joyful communion with him, that is, God, in whom are hid all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge. Colossians 2, verse 3. But after his sin, he could no longer find joy in holiness, and he sought to hide from the presence of God. Such is still the condition of the unrenewed heart. It is not in harmony with God and finds no joy in communion with him. The sinner could not be happy in God's presence. He would shrink from the companionship of holy beings. Could he be permitted to enter heaven? It would have no joy for him. That is, if he was to enter heaven, he would not enjoy it. That is the sinner. The spirit of unselfish love that reigns there in heaven, every heart responding to the heart of infinite love, would touch no answering chord in the sinner's own soul. Yes, I am adding a little bit to make it clearer. His thoughts, his interests, his motives would be alien to those that actuate the sinless dwellers there. He would be discordant. He would be a discordant note in the melody of heaven. Heaven would be to him a place of torture. He would long to be hidden from him who is its light and the center of its joy. It is no arbitrary decree on the part of God that excludes the wicked from heaven. They are shut out by their own unfitness for its companionship. The glory of God would be to them a consuming fire. They would welcome destruction, that they might be hidden from the face of him who died to redeem them. So that is the part of what has led me to decide on changing what the contents of my streams and my YouTube will be to something more devoted to the Lord. The video that I will go ahead and play, I will probably pause throughout it to make comments. Again, that's called fair use, to re-stream someone else's content, as long as it's being streamed or redistributed as with commentary for educational purposes, is perfectly legal as far as I'm aware. I actually wanted to call them this morning and forgot to see if I could get permission to do it. Anyway, let's see. So, and just like I did for that other, here's the verse of the day in a format that actually is a little easier to read on the video. He that believeth on the Son hath everlasting life, and he that believeth not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abideth on him. John 3:36. It's interesting. Let's see. So if you want to try memorizing this verse, you can cover up the text on the right here and try reciting it based on the first initial of each word on the left. I did it a little bit, don't have it memorized, but we're moving on to the snubbing the great invitation. And that's how much did God give to make salvation available to us, and yet we turn away from him. We have two choices: either we accept his offer of love and mercy, or if we reject his invitation, we will and that's where it cuts. So set that back to 0, switch back to the video, and read the description here. And we will eventually, and let's bring this up so you can see it, we'll eventually experience his wrath against sin. There you go. I know. I did it again. Let me stop that. Get out of here with that. Try again. Nope, won't work. Must refresh. I broke it. Yeah. My oldest seems to be headed down a path that could be like that. He's 15, and it's hard to say what's going on in his life because he won't communicate well with me or much with me. He has a bit of, well, I'm not going to get into it. If he was on the stream and wanted to talk about it, I would, but right now he's not, so I don't want to talk about him like that. Real quick, so I mentioned the rainbow thing a moment ago. I'm going to show it real quick so you don't have to go back. This is a feature I would really like StreamYard to implement. And the way I'm getting it to happen is by way of computer script code. Let me see. I have my a script causing my mouse to click every 2 pixels and move the mouse. So basically it moves the mouse 2 pixels to the right, clicks, moves it again, clicks, moves again, and so on. And there's no delay. It just keeps doing that, sliding back and forth. You can't click and drag back and forth on that, as far as I'm aware. Let me test that real quick. If you can, I'm going to simplify the script. No, so I'm clicking and holding, and it doesn't work. I have to let go and re-click. So the script for this, I will actually just share the screen for that. Yeah, right? Accountability's here? Wait a second. He didn't say anything. Ah, so your oldest is 15 as well, huh? Oh, wait, is your youngest 15 or your oldest? Ah, there you are, accountability. Hey, Josh, I think. My brain froze. What did you think of that rainbow slider I just demonstrated? About to share the auto hotkey script for anyone that is interested in being able to implement such a thing. So basically, Control-Alt-I creates a rainbow effect on StreamYard. Clicks every, gotta edit this a little, other pixel left to right. So your youngest and my oldest are same age, and they're both the ones we're concerned about. That's good. Well, I shouldn't say it's good, but yeah, it's interesting. I really pray that things turn around. And I don't know if AFA is still here. Anyway, so this is the script I generated or created to make the mouse click +2 every 2 pixels it clicks the mouse, and then when it reaches that coordinate, it stops, moves, sets the coordinate to that, and returns and starts going the other way. It's kind of fun. So I really, like I said, hope StreamYard implements some option to do what I was just demonstrating without my computer mouse having to be stuck going back and forth. All right, let's get off that. Switch screen. Now wait a second, can I share more than one screen at a time? No. All right, StreamYard only lets you share one screen at a time. You know, a 10-year spread is actually about what ours are. No, ours are 6-7 year spread. Youngest is 8, oldest is 15. They're about two months apart, birthdays. My youngest will be 9, so it's actually 6 years and 10 months. Anyway. Just reviewing your earlier messages. Okay, moving on here. I did not share with audio. All right. So I believe, yeah, okay. So StreamYard tab has been muted. And I will be pausing the stream as it's playing, or the video as it's playing, just so as to make comments and keep it from being not accepted or not able to be appealed or disputed regarding copyright claims. So here we go. Oh, that doesn't help. Let's try that again.
Friends, would you win souls if you could? Well, you can. Please plan now to join me in doing some evangelism this winter. It's easier than you think. Prophecy Encounter will be a major new 10-part evangelistic program that'll be broadcast by satellite and streaming on the internet to homes or churches near you. Hopefully your home or church. From February 17 through 25, I'll be preaching an all-new old-fashioned evangelistic program from Sanford, Florida, and we'll be using the latest technology and fresh illustrations. So all you have to do is open your churches, your homes, invite friends and family, be friendly, pray, and let the power of the Word do the work. The programs will be available on 3ABN, AFTV, Facebook, Roku, and more. You'll be surprised. There are people in your community that are really worried about what's happening in the world, and they're looking for answers. Jesus said the harvest is truly great, but the laborers are few. So pray therefore the Lord of the harvest will send laborers out into his harvest. You can be one of them. So I'd like to encourage you to join us and be praying for the upcoming Prophecy Encounter meetings. For more information, check out www.prophecyencounter.com. And who knows, you might be revived in the process.
All right, so before we continue on, I will point out that the date mentioned here is already passed. However, that's because this is just a resource for today's verse that I received. So technically, it's not it's not a original broadcasting of this. It's not recent. I'm sure it began sometime at the end of last year or was released then. In any case, we can continue and I will comment some more in a minute. Yep. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I hope you enjoy. Moving on. Sorry. I'm really tired.
Friends, are you afraid of heights? If so, you might want to look away right now. One of the most famous attractions in the San Francisco Bay Area is the iconic Golden Gate Bridge. While this world-famous bridge was named as one of the 7 wonders of the modern world, few people know the story of the brave men who were involved in its construction and also known as the Halfway to Hell Club. Designed by a group of visionary engineers, at 4,200 feet from end to end, the Golden Gate Bridge was at one time the longest suspension bridge in the world. During its construction from 1933 to 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge had one of the best safety construction records of any project during that time. Keep in mind, they would factor in and calculate that one man would die for every $1 million that was spent. So with a budget of $35 million, they knew that loss of life would be unacceptable. This is why the chief engineer, Joseph B. Strauss, was absolutely adamant about using the most rigorous safety precautions that had ever been used in bridge building. He had a local manufacturer of safety equipment design special headgear that he insisted be worn on every job. This became the prototype for the modern hard hat, worn for the first time ever. But the safety precautions went even farther. Strauss provided a special hand and face cream to protect their skin from the cold biting wind and glare-free goggles to protect their eyes. In addition, they also ate a special diet to help ward off dizziness when they were working at those epic heights. But the most conspicuous safety precaution was a gigantic net that was suspended from end to end under the entire construction area of the Golden Gate Bridge. In fact, during construction, this net saved the lives of 19 men, who later became known as the Halfway to Hell Club. Now you need to keep in mind, these were some of the most dangerous construction conditions you can imagine. The wind was constantly blowing. They were walking around on iron that sometimes had ice from the freezing fog. In places, they were over 700 feet above the icy waters. Yet the men, coming from all walks of life, were willing to take these risks because it was during the Great Depression, and they would get paid up to $11 a day, which was a fortune back then. One of the other benefits of the net was they discovered that the men were much more courageous, even though they were walking high on those slippery surfaces, because they knew there was a mechanism to protect them if they should fall. This gave them the confidence and the courage to press on and get the bridge built in record time. You know, friends, as Christians, we have a great work to do. The Bible tells us that we get to participate with Jesus in building a bridge that connects heaven and earth. And there are dangers along the way. The devil would like to paralyze us with fear that we might fall or make a mistake. But we know that Jesus has provided a safety net for us, and we don't have to be afraid. We can press on with confidence because it promises in the book of Jude, verse 24, he is able to keep us from falling. But sometimes we make mistakes. Still, don't be discouraged, friends. If you read in 1 John chapter 2, verse 1, the Bible says, if we fall, if we sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ. So let's press on together and build that bridge with Christ.
One of the things I really like about Amazing Facts and the ministry they do is the fact that they provide information like this and tie it into a biblical teaching or lesson. It's really a really well thought out and generated ministry. I will probably, in fact, I will, while the video is playing for the next increment, go ahead and get the description updated for this live stream so you can check it out. Check out Amazing Facts website for yourselves. I receive daily notice emails that I recently just added pretty much all of the other emails they offer, which included this, which I hadn't seen before, the daily verse, and the other one I showed you a minute ago, the longer one I read. That I added these, and through your Bible in a year email, daily email, which I may start doing streams like that. For now, let me continue, or let this video continue.
Our message today is titled Snubbing the Great Invitation. Have you ever been snubbed before? Maybe you've gone out to eat and you've seen this picture where either a young man or young woman, they're gone to a nice restaurant, and they're sitting there at a table by themselves, and one of them is like on the phone texting or checking their mail or their Facebook digital gossip. And the other one kind of feels, hello. And nobody appreciates being ignored or disdained or insulted. And the Bible tells a story, and Jesus shares a parable that helps to illustrate that this is, to some extent, what the human race has done to God. As we've said, we're really too busy for you. It's based upon a parable about a great wedding feast that takes place. But I thought I might give you an amazing fact. As far as I've seen, the most expensive wedding invitation that has been given out was given out by a former NFL wide receiver, Keyshawn Johnson, and his fiancée, Jennifer Conrad, when they decided to invite everybody to their wedding feast. Instead of getting the typical beautiful card in the mail, they sent all of the people a free iPad. $400 iPad, $400 per invitation. The iPad was preloaded with the information regarding the wedding and conveniently how they could register to buy them their wedding gifts. Now, if someone went so far as to give you a new iPad as a wedding invitation, would you feel a little bit obligated to go to the wedding or send back the iPad?
That's a pretty expensive. I don't know how many they sent out. I tried to find out, but I think hundreds of iPads for a wedding. Expensive invitation. I hope everyone here knows that we have received a very costly invitation to a great feast. The parable I'd like to take apart with you today is found.
Before we hear that, part of why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I really want to be in that great feast. I fully believe that I will be, yet in order to keep that belief and keep the Lord with me, I believe what comes at around minute 26 in this video will be very educational as to why I'm deciding to do what I'm doing. So, moving on.
In Luke. Now, you're going to find it a couple places, but first I'd like you to go with me to the book of Luke 14, Gospel of Luke chapter 14, and we'll be starting with verse 16. Now, this whole parable is given while Jesus is at a wedding feast, and he makes some comments about how he observed that they were seeking out the chief seats, and then he talks about how you have a feast for your rich friends, and then they feel like they're going to reciprocate and have a feast for you. And so the whole chapter is really talking about feast. But at some point, there's a long, awkward silence because Jesus is giving them all the straight truth. And some of them are a little convicted. And one of them says in a pious tone, well, blessed is he that will eat bread and drink in the kingdom of God. And Jesus then goes on to illustrate a parable. He says, really? You plan on being in the kingdom of God? Luke 14:16. Then he said, a certain man gave a great supper and invited many. Don't miss the phrase great supper. If a man can afford a great supper and invite many, it's a great man. So you got a great man having a great supper, inviting many, a great number. And he sent his servants at supper time, saying to those who were invited, come, for all things are now ready. But they all, with one accord, began to make excuses. Now, just so you understand, in Bible times, I guess it's not that uncommon today that when, they didn't have telephones back then, and when you were going to have a great feast, first you would RSVP. If you're going to have a great supper, you want to know how many are there because they didn't have refrigeration, and they'd slaughter animals, and they'd prepare this great provision, and they'd cook food on the coals, and so the servants went around. They said, there's a feast, a great wedding feast. You're invited. You're going to come. I'm going to come. Okay, we'll let you know when it's ready. And, they gave them an approximate time. They didn't worry about time as much as we do now. I know one story in the Bible when King Saul was going to deliver a city. He said, about tomorrow when the sun starts to wax warm. I didn't say 10 o'clock. They were a little bit vague about their times. I know when we were in Fiji earlier this year, they've got something there called Fiji time.
That sounds like it would be fun. So I'm guessing that was in 2021. I've never been to Fiji. But as I just said, it sounds like it'd be fun. Probably much better weather than I'm having here. Okay, continuing.
Everybody sort of shows up. You got Hawaii time too, huh? Yeah. And in Mexico, they call it mañana time. But in Bible times, he said, we'll be a feast in about a week. Are you going to come? I'll come. He said, okay, we'll let you know when everything is ready. They had to go collect the animals and do all this cooking. Very labor intensive to prepare. So this king is inviting many. A whole community is being invited. And finally, everything's ready. All the servants are in place. He says, okay, now go tell all the people to come now. But they all with one accord, began to make excuses. The first said to him, I bought a piece of ground and I must go and see it. I ask you, have me excused. And another said, I bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm going to test them. I ask, have me excused. Still another said, I've married a wife, therefore I cannot come. So that servant came and reported these things to his master. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, go out quickly in the streets and in the lanes of the city, and bring here the poor and the maimed and the lame and the blind. The servants did this, and they came back and they report, Master, it is done as you have commanded, and still there's room. Then the master said to the servant, go out into the highway and the hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say to you that none of those men who were invited will taste my supper. The ones who spurn the invitation, they draw near with their mouths, but their hearts are actually far away. They do not eat the supper. Now, before we delve into the particulars of this parable, I want you to notice that I've been telling you it's a wedding feast. You notice Luke never says a wedding feast. But turn in your Bibles to Matthew 22. Jesus is sharing the same parable in a different town. Let me just stop there and explain something. If you sometimes notice a difference between a parable in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, or the way certain things, these stories and illustrations Jesus told, that's because Jesus went from town to town. I think you all know that Jesus did not have entirely new material from town to town. He would often repeat his parables. That's why
So, Pastor Doug here, or Brother Doug, I guess he's pastor. Anyway, he's reminding me when I went to South Africa and India, the sermons that I shouldn't say, well, yeah, sermons, the presentations I presented and shared with the locals there in both locations were correction. The presentations I shared in South Africa. In India, I actually was creating my own stories for children's stories. The main service was being presented by my partner, whoever that might have been. In any case, what he's about to say reminds me that the sermons or the presentations I had were pre-created and being shared by many people in different places, and all of them, or each of the sermons, was adapted for the given environment and the given people. When we received the ones for India, they had not updated it from tropical, I shouldn't say tropical, but from an island representation. So I did, just like he's about to say, need to adapt it and prepare it for the people I was speaking to. So it's quite interesting. So it makes sense that Christ's stories were adaptive according to who he was speaking to, and it's true. He doesn't. The Lord did not present stories to people, and still does not, even through the Bible, in such a way that they're rigid and stuck, that they can't adapt according to where the person's at. It reaches people according to where they're at, and that's something many people don't understand. He's not trying. He is not trying to make you become clean before he's willing to take you under his wing. He loves all of us, and we'll be learning more of that as we go. So moving on.
Disciples repeated them. But as he'd look at the people in the village or the town, he'd emphasize different parts of it based on what he felt their needs were. And so when you read Luke's account, that's because maybe it was heard one way in one town, and Matthew's was heard another way in another town. Now, I relate to that because I have preached certain sermons hundreds of times as I travel around. I said, hey, this new church, they haven't heard this array of sermons, and so I'm going to preach them, but they're a little different every time, especially if you're preaching extemporaneously. And so that's why you're going to see a little difference between Matthew and Mark. It doesn't mean the Bible's inconsistent. It means he preached it in one village one way, and he shared a little different aspect in another. Go to Matthew chapter 22. And Jesus answered, verse 1, and spoke to them again by parables and said, The kingdom of heaven is like a certain king, that's that great man, who arranged a marriage for his son. This is the feast. And he sent out his servants to those who were invited. They accepted the RSVP to the wedding, and they were not willing to come. Again, he sent out other servants saying, tell those who are invited, see, I prepared my dinner. My oxen and fatted cattle are killed. All things are ready. These things are perishable. You got to come now. Come to the wedding. But they made light of it. And they went their own way, one to his own farm, another to his business. And the rest seized his servants and treated them spitefully and killed them. And when the king heard about it, he was furious. And he sent out his armies and destroyed those murderers and burnt up their city. And he said to his servants, the wedding is ready, but those who are invited are not worthy. Therefore, go into the highways, and as many as you find, invite to the wedding. So the servants went out into the highways and gathered together all who they found, both bad and good. And the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man who did not have on a wedding garment. So he said to him, friend, how did you come in without a garment? Because he would provide the garments for all who came. And he was speechless. And the king said to the servants, bind him hand and foot, take him away and cast him into the outer darkness. And there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. Okay, you see the parallels between the two parables. Jesus expands a little more and talks about the wedding garment in the one that he related in the gospel, or is related in the gospel of Matthew. So you'll notice that all these people, how many are invited? Many. Many are called. Many are invited. What kind of feast? Great feast. People originally said, do you want to be at the wedding feast? And they said, yes. Put my name down. Of course. But they either didn't mean it or they changed their mind, because finally when the message comes, it's now ready, they all begin to make excuses with one accord. I heard about this little boy named Tommy. He gets to school late one day. Teacher says, you're going to need a note written, an excuse for being late by your parents.
This is funny.
The next day, his mother gave him a note, and the note read, you'll remember yesterday we had 16 inches of snow. Tommy's legs are only 15 inches. That's a pretty good excuse. But some of the excuses that are given in the story are not very good excuses. Let's take a look at them. I want you to notice, you know what a noun is? What's a noun? Person, place, or thing.
I'm going to do a quick test to make sure the stream can still hear what's coming through my phone, because I just connected power, and it's just so strange when some things don't work right. So I'll unmute for a moment. You'll hear me talking. I just connected power, and it just, yep, still hear me. Okay, moving on.
You to notice, think noun. The excuses are people, places, and things that keep
ideas.
them from going to the wedding feast.
He actually
Who
does
is
something.
the one
That
getting
is an
married?
idea.
The wedding supper of the Lamb. Who is the king? God has invited all. He's made this provision. God so loved the world, he gave his son that we might have this feast. Now, there's two parts to the feast. You've got the ultimate wedding feast where we sit down in the kingdom with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and Jesus. But then there's, of course, the wedding feast. Jesus had a supper with his disciples. It's the gospel. Jesus is the bread of life. His blood is the wine. He is the living water. So all these things that are talking about in the Bible that nourish us, that feed our souls, it represents the gospel. And people say, oh, yeah, sign me up. I want that feast. But when it really comes down to participating, they're not that interested. Take a look at some of the excuses that are given. I want you to notice that they're kept away from the feast by places, by possessions, and by persons. First, in Luke 14:18, I've bought a piece of ground that I need to see. I can't come because, I bought this land. Well, how many buy land sight unseen? Hadn't he already seen it? He's saying there's somewhere else I'd rather be. That's what he's really saying in this story. What kind of fool buys a piece of land sight unseen? What's going to happen to the land? Is its value going to change if he doesn't go look at it? Is the land going anywhere? I mean, that really is a pretty feeble excuse when you think about it. And yet he says, oh, I've got this piece of land. There's somewhere else I need to be. Now's not a good time. Please excuse me, I can't come. Really? Didn't you know there was going to be a wedding and weren't you invited? I spent a great deal to make it possible for you to come. He doesn't care. Now, you know, in Bible times, when a king invited you to the wedding of royalty, that was a great honor. And when you accept the invitation and then you snub the king, sometimes there are accounts in history where that was grounds for a declaration of war. When you would show that kind of an insult. I mean, I think we all even know in our culture, if you accept an RSVP and people have then paid at the hotel for a meal that's often very expensive and a seat for you and sometimes your family to be there, and then you just kind of blow it off and you don't come. And you say, we really missed you at the wedding. Oh, well, you know, there's this piece of land I wanted to look at. What message does that telegraph? You're just not really very important. And I don't appreciate the sacrifice you made for me to be there. That's what they're saying. Now, before I go any farther.
Before he goes any farther, I'm going to pause it. Real quick, to let anyone that's still watching, I think Cheryl might be, or my father. Who was that? Mrs. UB Chillin. Maybe, no, it was AFA. Josh. Accountability for All, and his likely future wife are planning a YouTube wedding, or at least possibly a YouTube wedding. And I just thought I'd let you know, I liked that idea. So I may be live streaming my wedding. Or I shouldn't say our wedding, my ex-future wife, my ex-wife, now my future wife, whatever. We may be live streaming that ourselves. So back to the service here. I hope whoever that is watching is enjoying it. And I'm not making the color changing ticker function right now. Well, let me know if the ticker's distracting or you want me to disable the disable the color changing if I enable it, which I will be now. Going on.
Who are the ones who are initially invited that start making excuses? Who does that represent?
Israel.
Two things. First of all, it's the Jewish nation. They said, we are Abraham's seed. Blessed is the one who's going to eat bread and drink in the kingdom of God with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is what initiated the whole parable.
The Nich Abraham seed.
And they said, yes, we are waiting for the Messiah. We're looking forward to the kingdom. And when the Messiah came, did they really want him? No. As a nation, they spurned the great invitation. But it goes beyond that. This is not just written for Jews back then. Are these excuses still given by Christians today? Are there a lot of people who say, sign me up, I want to be a Christian, I'm going to go to church, but when it comes to really coming to Jesus, they've got other things they want to do. Things keep them away from making a complete surrender. There's somewhere else they want to be. There's someone else they want to be with. There's something else that they want that keeps them away. The second one says, verse 19, I bought 5 yoke of oxen and I'm going to test them. I ask you, have me excused. Now, it took a lot of wealth to buy a yoke of oxen. I mean, that's what they used for farming back then. A pair of oxen was a pretty expensive farm implement. It was the equivalent of having, a great big John Deere tractor to farm your land. This man says, look, I'm a very busy businessman. I've got lands and I've got fields and I've got all these oxen, and I just bought 5 more and I've got to go test them. Again, was he not there when they were bought? He's just trying out his new tractors. He's basically saying, I've got other stuff that keeps me from going. It's interesting that Jesus chose oxen. These people wouldn't go because their oxen were more important. Well, you read in Matthew, it says the king sacrificed oxen too, so that they could be there. This man's keeping his oxen alive. The king lost his oxen. There was a death of oxen so that they could go to the feast. Do you remember? We just read that in Matthew. The oxen's slain. Come now. They used to wait to the last minute to kill the fatted calf. You know the story of the prodigal son? You know the story when these visitors came to Abraham, one of them was the Lord, and he went and he slew the fatted calf. That was what you save for special occasions. In America, it's the fatted turkey. Back then, it was a fatted calf. And they're invited. This is an important dinner. It's a great feast. It's something that is it's like a state event. It's a gala. It's not lunch at Taco Bell we're talking about.
I will mention the ticker across the bottom is saying if you'd like to jump up on the stream and be like me right over, let's see, on your stream. Well, I'm right here. If you're interested in being visible, even if you want to just be your avatar instead of your camera. Let me think. Oh, I've actually disabled avatars. I could re-enable it if anyone did decide to join. The link is in the chat, pinned comment, and I'd be glad to put you up here. We can discuss what's being presented. We could talk about it. The last message I see here is from Cheryl. We were talking about how our kids are similar age, but also not necessarily believers. My oldest believes, but is headed down a road that looks like he's trying not to. So anyway, we're going to move on, continue with the streaming of Doug Batchelor's Amazing Facts presentation here. Go back in the live stream if you're interested in knowing more about what's going on. Remember, you can always play a live stream at 2x speed to try to catch up to real time. Something I do all the time, actually. When I join a live stream late, I'll play it at 2x speed. And if I'm really late, like anyone joining now is, you can play it at 2x speed and just skip forward when you see changes. So anyway, back to the sermon.
I just know I've got these oxen I'd like to go check out. Well, he can't wait a day. It's interesting because when Elijah calls when Elijah calls Elisha to prophetic ministry, he finds Elisha. Elijah is coming back from Mount Sinai where God has said, look, I want you to anoint Elisha the prophet to be prophet in your place. And Elijah sees him. After this 3.5 years of famine, it's been lots of rain and all the fresh grass is sprouted and the soil is finally soft. So they got to plow it up and plant. It's right after this famine. And so Elijah is out.
So in the description, I mentioned that around 26 minutes is when, in this video, is when I came to my decision regarding my stream. It started here, so I really hope you listen to this carefully.
Out in the field, and everybody's working like crazy, and he is with his family, servants out working, and there are 12 yoke of oxen. There's 24 oxen, right? And Elisha is with the 12. And Elijah walks up to Elisha, and he throws his coat, his mantle on his shoulders, and he understood this meant, you are being called to be servant in my place. And what does Elisha say? He says, I got a lot going on. I can't do it. I've got other places I need to be, other people, other things. The Bible says that Elisha says, let me kiss my mother and father goodbye. He kisses them goodbye, and then he goes and he takes the oxen that he had been plowing with. He takes the plow, uses the wood from it, makes a fire. He sacrifices the oxen. He gives it to the people, basically saying, I am not turning back. I've destroyed the plow and I've destroyed the yoke I was plowing with. And that's what Jesus is talking about when he said, if any man puts his hand to the plow and looks back, he's not worthy of the kingdom. So in the minds of the hearers is the story of Elisha, who walked away from his oxen so that he could follow Elijah. Kind of like Peter and James and John walked away from their fishing nets, and Matthew walked away from his tax booth, and some of the apostles probably walked away from their flocks and their herds so they could follow Jesus. And these people are saying, I've got these oxen I need to test. The things are more important.
To note real quick, if you have a hard time remembering Elijah versus Elisha, I came up with, well, I didn't come up with, someone else did, but it makes sense. The first one is the first one alphabetically. So Elijah with a J was the elder, and he was the one who came first. Elisha was the latter or younger, and he was the boy who was plowing that Doug just mentioned here. So that's a method of remembering which one of the two is older and which one you're talking about. Elijah was the one who was taken up into heaven without seeing death, or suffering the first death. And Elisha was the one whose life was the end of his life was more suffering. And so there's a neat little trick there. Alphabetical first. So Elijah with the J, Elisha with the S. That's how you can remember the two differences. So moving on. Might work better to click the button if I'm looking at my screen rather than the computer.
And they're not going to taste of the feast. There's something else. I'd rather do something else with something else. And then Luke 14:20, still another said, I have married a wife and therefore I cannot come. Now, of all the excuses, you can sort of imagine that could happen. You could picture a scenario where you've got this new wife and she says, your old girlfriend's going to be at that wedding. You're not going to that wedding. And there was a provision in the law. You can read it, Deuteronomy 24. When a man, verse 5, Deuteronomy 24:5, when a man is
Before we go on to that, I will point out that when I marry my next wife, she may say, your old girlfriend, your old ex-wife will be there. You're not going to that wedding. And it'll be kind of funny because, well, it's the same woman. Anyway, it was just a connection there. I'm crazy. Moving on.
taken a new wife, he will not go out to war or be charged with any business. He'll be free at home for a year and bring happiness to his wife who he has taken. Now, that's in the event of war. This is a wedding feast. That law did not cover that. Matter of fact, how many of you agree that the king, since he's invited many and it's a great feast, if this man showed up and said, you know, I realize I accepted the invitation, but now I've got a wife. Can she come? He said, sure. All through the story that we read, the problem is never that there are too many people at the feast. Don't miss that.
Amen.
The problem is there are not enough people at the feast. The king wants to invite many. Jesus has made a provision for many. The sacrifice of Christ, all the world, the sins of all the world could be covered by his sacrifice. And so there's never a shortage of seats at the feast. I actually have people from time to time when we do the presentation on heaven and I give them the dimensions of the New Jerusalem, they think, you know, maybe there's just not going to be enough room in the city for me. They literally are concerned that physically there's not going to be enough room for them in the city. that it'll be like, housing in Hong Kong, and there's just not enough space. Any of you ever been in an apartment in Hong Kong? Hotel in Hong Kong? Man, you
Taiwan.
just got to back in when you open the door. It's just really small.
Taiwan was pretty big.
And someone figured, there's going to be billions of people in the New Jerusalem. There just won't be room. Karen and I once got a room in Hong Kong for she and I and the two boys at Japan. Oh, yeah, I didn't mean that about Hong Kong. I meant Japan. Japan's worse. That was really small. And we were quite literally on top of each other. But I had a room, the smallest room I had was in Hong Kong. I could put my arms out and touch both walls. Absolutely serious. So people are worried there's not going to be room enough, it's going to be overcrowded. That's, do you realize that the city dimensions are as big as the state of Oregon? It's like 375 miles on each side. You start thinking about if you then put people in a city and you start going up, here's an amazing fact. There are more people that live above the 20th floor in New York City than live in the whole state of Montana.
Oh, wow.
So there's plenty of room.
That's interesting.
In the city. You'll never find that's a problem. So this guy says, I want to bring my wife. King would say, fine. But no, he says, I can't go because I got married. And she put her foot down and put her sandal down. And she said, we're not going. I've got other plans. Does that sound a little bit like an excuse that Adam made? Lord, I would have obeyed you. Genesis 3:12. But the woman you gave me, she told me to eat from that forbidden tree and I ate. Lord, it's your fault. So they're blaming other places. They're blaming other things. They're blaming other people, the excuses for not coming to the feast. What does Jesus say? Should anybody keep us from the feast? Luke 14, in the same chapter, Christ says, if anyone comes to me and he doesn't hate his father and his mother and his wife and his children and his brothers and his sister, yes, his own life, he cannot be my disciple. In Matthew, he puts it this way, he that loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves his son or daughter more than me. So when it says hate, it doesn't mean you hate them. It means if you got to love them less than you love me. You've got to be willing to turn from them in order to follow me. And so this man says, I can't come because I've married a wife. He's putting somebody ahead. You're thinking.
So that's an interesting concept. I don't know what it would look like to turn away from April or my children, my parents, but when the end comes, when the tribulation comes, that will be greater than COVID has been. This is just a prelude. This is just this is how unexpected things can be. When that happens, we will learn what people believe and where their loyalties lie. And I do believe that I will have no problem choosing the Lord. Okay, no, I will have a problem because I love them, but I will choose the Lord in place of them because I know that it's only the Lord that can save them. And if they cannot or are not able to understand why I choose the Lord over them, then the only thing that can convince them is the Lord himself, the Holy Spirit working with those, with the seed that's planted in them from them observing me not able to or not willing to stay with them and do sin myself, to not follow the Lord. It's hard to articulate at this moment. Again, I got 2 hours of sleep since 8:30 a.m. yesterday. So moving on. Let's continue with Pastor Doug's sermon.
In the Bible about Uriah the Hittite. Do you remember the story? He came back from the battle. David had been sleeping with his wife. And she discovered she was pregnant. And David thought, well, it's going to be obvious that something was going on because Uriah has been out of town fighting a battle. And so David summons Uriah, offers him a feast, pretends he wants a report on the war, and he says, look, you live next door. I know right where your house is. That's how I saw your wife bathing. And he said, you go on home. He says, here, I'm going to cater a nice meal. You go relax, enjoy yourself too. And he's figuring that when Uriah finds out that Bathsheba's pregnant, that nobody will suspect because he did come home on an R&R leave, even though that first one did come early. Still with me? But it doesn't work. Uriah doesn't go. And David can't figure it out. And he tries to get him drunk the next day and says, here, just relax. And he doesn't go. He sleeps with the servants. Finally, David, just amazed, he says, and this guy's married to Bathsheba. This was a very pretty woman. And David is wondering, Uriah, are you well? What's going on? You came from the battle. You didn't go home. And Uriah says, the ark of God and the army of God are out in the open fields fighting the enemies of God. How can I go back to my men and say, I went home and I ate and drank and slept with my wife? Says, I am not going to relax until the war is won. Now, you got to admire something about that guy. I know I always get looks like lasers from the ladies when I say this. But I think Uriah did the right thing. I think that he did something unusually heroic with self-control. He put the interest of God above his own interests. And since Uriah was one of David's mighty men, he had men under his authority, and he didn't want to demoralize them. And he said, look, my heart is with you in the battle. It's in the field. And so this man said, I am going to put the wedding feast ahead of even my own wife. David couldn't figure that out. That takes unusual dedication. So when you've accepted the invitation to the feast, Jesus says, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added. But a lot of times we blame other people for not going to the feast. It's my wife's fault. And if it's not my wife, do you remember King Saul, his excuse? Samuel the prophet said to Saul, go destroy the Amalekites and destroy all of their cattle and their animals. Do not spare anything. They have been your enemies for years. They're to be annihilated. And Saul comes back from the battle, and he's got this parade with sheep and oxen and goats and all these critters. And Samuel says, what's with this? God told you to destroy everything. Oh, we did. We destroyed the worst of them. So it's a sound of lowing I hear. It says, well, the people, people complained, and they made me take the best of the animals because we're going to offer them as sacrifice. That's what you call an excuse.
Yep.
And you blame everybody else. Excuses. Lame excuses. I was tempted to call the message lame excuses.
That would have been interesting.
They really had no interest in the king's food or the king. That was the truth. The reason they came up with all the excuses, they didn't want to feast with the king. Do we sometimes make excuses? What's an excuse?
Oh, absolutely.
An excuse is an attempt to release or to free you from an obligation or duty by mitigating circumstances. An excuse is an apology used to gain an exemption for service. It's to seek to remove the blame from or to serve as a justification for a reason to put forward to justify an offense. An excuse is usually some reason to find a way out of an obligation, a responsibility, a duty. Someone said, an excuse is the skin of a reason stuffed with a lie. D.L. Moody said, excuses are the cradle that Satan uses to rock men to sleep. When God says, turn from the places, turn from the possessions, and turn from the people that are keeping you from the feast. Do you make excuses? I would, but not now. Do you realize that virtually all of their excuses were based on this is just not a convenient time? I would have come to that
Which is
feast
the
if it
idea
had been,
that I mentioned earlier.
it wasn't for the oxen, but right now I've got to check the oxen. I would have.
So towards the beginning of playing this video, I mentioned how he points out people, places. Oh, what is it? A noun, person, place, thing, or idea. Well, he leaves off the word idea, but he just gave a great example of idea. So anyway, moving on. Again, commentary, educational purposes. Going on.
Come, but I've got that piece of land, and right now I've got something else I've got to do. Its timing's not good. I would have come if it was before I married my wife or after our 1-year honeymoon, but right now is not a good time. And I think if we're all honest, we'd admit that in varying forms, we often say, now is not a good time to make a complete surrender. Or we're telling ourselves, I know I've got to get really serious about being committed to the Lord and being a genuine Christian and coming to the feast one of these days. Do you realize one of these days is an excuse? Whatever the excuse is, you just say, I don't feel like it now. Or I'm afraid to do it now. Or I got too much stress right now. Or it'll be harder now. But we're doing the same thing. We're saying, I want to be a Christian, but I don't want to go all the way. I'll accept the RSVP, but when you ask me to really leave behind and come to feast with you, no. And we don't do it. And we miss out on eternal life. Someone else wrote, excuses are the nails used to build a house of failure. Just not in spiritual things. An excuse is a thin slice of falsehood stretched tightly over a bold-faced lie. That's similar to that other one. A person who really wants to get something done finds a way. The other will find an excuse. Paul says, Romans 1:20, for since the creation of the world, his invisible attributes are clearly being seen and understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead. So they are without excuse. You remember when he came into the wedding feast and he said, how come you don't have the wedding garment on? And suddenly he had no excuse. He had no answer. Why? Because Christ has purchased a garment of his righteousness for everybody. That's why Jesus said, whosoever will. Everybody can. Now you notice he wants everybody to be there. The Lord doesn't want anyone to be.
So as he just spoke of the person who showed up or was in the feast without a garment, wedding garment, I was trying to consider or identify who that would represent. What kind of sorry, I'm a bit far away. Let me get closer. Here we go. Who that would represent. And I was thinking it would be someone, and in fact, because I've watched this through already, he may actually explain it himself, but it would be somebody who says, I'm a good person, so I should be allowed in the feast. Later, he actually says something similar, but it's about being allowed into the house, to live in the house. So anyway, I'll let you all get back to this sermon, and we'll wait. Again, if anyone has comments about my commenting and my thoughts on what the sermon is presenting, feel free to post a chat message or join me in as a guest on StreamYard. The link in the description, or the link in the chat, and the link on Facebook will bring you in to StreamYard and offer you the option of seeing or being on the stream, like I am right here. Anyway, Continuing.
Be lost. All are invited. Now, in this story, keep in mind, it's not saying that the king made a great feast and 3 people didn't show. Those 3 people represent all of the people in this community that said, we want to go, they didn't really want to go. And the first group there sort of represents the Jewish nation. Of course, many of the Jews were saved. The whole early church was Jewish. And that brings us to the next part of what happens. When the king finds out those people said they were going to come and they didn't come, what's his response? Well, he said, bring in the lame and the blind. The master of the house, being angry, said to his servants, go out quickly. Why quickly? Because everything's ready. There's a time constraint. When Jesus called Lazarus, he said, come down quickly. When the Lord calls us to come to him, does he ever say when it's convenient? No. Come now, today. Go out quickly into the streets and the lanes. Go. What is the message of the Great Commission? Go, tell all people. You notice what he said to the first group? Come now, for all things are ready. Go, tell all these poor and these lame and the blind. Come into the streets and the lanes of the city. Tell the poor and the maimed and the lame and the blind. And they did. Now, when it says, go into the streets and the lanes, tell them all to come in. This is first talking now, when it says the lame and the blind, this is talking about the Jews who the Pharisees and the scribes did not feel were worthy. The poor in spirit, the shepherds, the tax collectors, the fishermen, they were Jews, but they were crippled Jews. These were people in the neighborhood that were the riffraff. They were the motley crew. They were the unworthy. Remember what Peter said? Depart from me, Lord, I am a sinful man. And he was. And you remember when he was tempted to deny Christ, it didn't take Peter long at all to remember his old vocabulary. He could swear and curse very quickly. And so when Jesus left the seminary at Jerusalem, they said, oh, we're going to the feast, but they really weren't interested. Who was it that went to hear John the Baptist preach? It was a lot of the poor. And so Jesus then found an audience up around Galilee. It was the fishermen. It was the common working folk that the religious leader says, these people, they're sinners. They don't know the law. They don't know any better. They're crippled. Who did Jesus say is worthy? Blessed are the poor in spirit. They're the ones who are going to hear it. And so they go and they gather as many as they can, but there's still room. And he says, what now? And the master said to him, go into the highways and the hedges. Now, some of you in your Bibles, it'll say into the streets and the lanes. Hedges is actually a word that it meant fences. And probably the best translation that would be, go into the highways and the yards. Enter into the private yards of people. Knock on their doors. Don't just go up and down and talk to the people that are in the public places on the streets. Go into their yards and knock on the door and say, come to the feast. And so it's really a good argument for door-to-door work and Bible work and personal evangelism and home Bible studies. Go tell people where they live. Go into their hedges, their yards. People used to have a hedge in their yard, keep their animals in. They didn't all live in little matchbox houses as they do in the typical American suburbs. This is talking about now going beyond, out in among the Gentiles. So the message first, it went to the Jews, the religious leaders, the ones who were considered socially respectable. They were at the synagogue every week saying, Lord, I thank you I'm not like other men. But when they didn't come.
So he mentioned a little while ago, and he alluded to this. Originally, they said the person providing the feast said, come, the feast is ready. Then it turns into go and bring others, since the original ones weren't willing to come. So I'm trying to say Israel, the genetic Hebrew, the genetic Jew, was originally offered to come. The feast is ready. So is that saying, I don't know if this is true or not, but the concept is, was that suggesting that Jesus was saying, the feast is ready, come, I'm going to be sacrificed and we can go? I don't think so. But it's a thought anyway. I'm thinking the answer is no on that. And if you didn't understand what I just rambled on about, my apologies. Again, lack of sleep will cause a person to have lots of ideas. Well, at least this person.
Then the message goes out to the publicans, the ones who smite on their breasts and saying, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. And he said, continue to go and to bring them in. So the message, after it went to the poor, the gospel first. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. He was brought to Jerusalem. But the gospel then was preached among the poor. And then he told the disciples, go first to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and whosoever will. But then the gospel went out to the world. After the stoning of Stephen, when probation was closed as for the nation, and then anybody, Jew or Gentile, could be saved, the gospel went out into the highways and the hedges everywhere. Now, some people struggle with this part of the parable, and you'll notice in Matthew and in Luke, it says, the king was angry. Is it popular today to talk about the anger of God? Where we only talk about the love of God. We only talk about the compassion of God. We only talk about the mercy of God. Well, you have to take your marker and mark out a lot of your Bible, unless you're going to also say the Bible does talk about the anger of God. Let me give you something to think about. God only has two faces. Not that he's two-faced. He's got the love.
He said not
the
that
mercy,
he is two-faced. He said
for the
not that he
redeemed,
is two-faced,
wrath
but he has two
for
faces.
those who have clung to their sins. God is merciful and long-suffering. But in the Bible, you'll find there's no Switzerland. There's no neutral territory. You know, during World War I, World War II, Switzerland maintained some kind of neutrality. There's no neutral territory. Jesus said, if you're not with me, you're what? You're against me. And he said, you're either children of God or you're children of the devil. The Lord didn't have sort of this ambivalent group. I mean, do you find anywhere in the Bible where he said, oh, yeah, they're not with me, they're not against me, they're just, nah. God isn't like that.
So I'm going to real quickly pause. Again, if you'd like to comment on this, on what's being said, if you'd like to comment on my comments, the chat is available for doing that. I am also, as you can see across the ticker at the bottom of the screen there, if you'd like to join the stream, the pinned comment on YouTube has the link to StreamYard, which would bring you to a point where you could actually join. If you have a phone that can click that link, or if you have a computer that can click that link and you have a camera on the computer, you can show up like this. If you'd like to just join as an audio avatar, or if you just want to be audio, no video, not even the avatar, that's an option too, where you can chat with me. So go ahead and join if you'd like. If my dad is still watching, your iPhone probably could do it. You just have to click the link in the YouTube video you're watching, unless you're on Facebook, in which case, same thing. Click the link I posted as a comment on Facebook. So we shall continue. We're almost done, 43 out of 58 minutes. This video is almost over. I will let the ad, or the ad that is added to the end of the video play for everyone to check out. But for now, we're going to continue.
God said we're either coming to him or we're going away from him. How many roads are there?
One other thing. When you see me looking this way or this way, I actually have 3 screens, 2 of which have Doug Batchelor on them. This way, is my full screen, which I'm sharing with you. And this way is StreamYard, where I can see myself on this, whatever, where I can see myself as well as that. I can't see the chat comments. In fact, I'll fix that right now. Okay, so if anyone does leave a comment, I can see those on my phone, or I will possibly notice the comments show a increased number. So let's get back to it.
There's the narrow road that leads to life. There's the broad road that leads to destruction.
How many
You
roads
find that
are there?
third road. I don't see it in the Bible. And so those that refuse the love and compassion of the invitation, and especially, you know, what's really sad is by their not coming, others aren't going. That man could have brought his wife. And he sacrificed so much to make the dinner available. How much did God give to make the dinner available? He so loved the world, he gave his son. He gave everything. And to refuse that, and the Bible says, he's angry. The master of the house being angry, Luke 14:21, Matthew 22:7. But when the king heard about this, he was furious. You find that? You can't really get madder than being furious. And he sent out his armies and destroyed those murderers. You remember in the Matthew's parable, not only did they spurn the invitation, they killed some of the messengers in the process. It's the highest form of insult. John 3, when you say John 3, what verse do you think
16.
of most?
Today's verse I've already put
I want you to read
video.
John 3:36.
3:36.
He that believes in the Son has everlasting life. We like that part? I like that part. And he who does not believe the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of God abides on him. Okay, so was this Pastor Doug saying it, or is it Jesus? You got two choices.
I actually like that part as well. Hold on.
Love and
peace. He says he likes the first part, but I also like the second part. I'm gonna rewind just a little so I can
mercy.
Oh, good, that does work.
And he who does not believe the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of.
So he who does not believe on the Son or believe in the Son, it doesn't say on or in, but he that does not believe the Son will not see life. So it's really a subtle hint there. It goes all the way back to the Garden of Eden, where Satan is preaching or stating that if you eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you will not surely die. Well, wait. That's what's been preached to the pulpit from the pulpit for many years. You will die. You will not see life. He just said that. The soul is not immortal. God is immortal. Man is not. God is everlasting from beginning. Has no beginning, has no end. But man has a beginning and an end. And many people don't realize that or understand that. Let's see. Okay. My dad has confirmed he's not watching right now. I sent a text to him. In any case, it's very interesting. Many people have deep-seated beliefs in the fact that they will live forever, either in heaven or hell. But that is it's not shown in the Bible. It's very clear. And there's many arguments that say it is, but right here is another example I didn't even know of. John 3:36. I'm going to rewind one more time so we can hear a little bit more.
Now I want you to read John 3:36. He that believes in the Son has everlasting life. We like that part? I like that part. And he who does not believe the Son, shall not see life, but
Shall
the
not see life.
wrath of God abides on him.
Living
Okay,
in
so was this
hell,
Pastor Doug
suffering
saying
in
it,
hell
or is
would
it
be
Jesus?
life.
You got
if
two
you were to
choices.
See life. So,
Love and mercy of God. You do not believe. Jesus said the wrath of God abides on him. Why? Because the wrath of God is going to be revealed from heaven.
see, that's just it. I also believe that love and mercy will be given and shown even to those that do not love God back. The mercy will be that they won't exist anymore. They will suffer. They will burn in the lake of fire, but they will be consumed like any other fire. It consumes the fuel, and the souls of the damned and Satan will be the fuel that causes the fire to continue. When that fuel runs out, the fire will still be there. Correction, will not be there anymore. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah, it's not still burning to this day, but it was an everlasting, unquenchable fire. So God is the God is the everlasting, unquenchable fire. God's presence, and once there's no more fuel, sin, then the fire will go out. But if sin were to come back, which the Bible tells us clearly it won't, the fire would still be there, and he would burn it up. So anyway, I rant and I go off on things that people aren't always ready to hear. So if you're not in agreement with me, join me, discuss it, talk with me. My neighbor likes to use the phrase agree to disagree. I do not agree to disagree. I agree to work it through and come to an understanding with each other. Agreeing to disagree is just a cop-out, an excuse to not finish and not work with someone else. I'll leave it at that for now. Moving forward, I was about to touch something on my phone. Where did I need to go over here?
Against sin. And if you are not saved from your sins, then the wrath of God comes against us. And it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of an angry God. Revelation 6:16 and 17. Fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. Then it almost sounds like it's a paradox. It's a contradiction of terms. Any of you ever been killed by a lamb? I mean, a lamb is considered to be one of the meekest, most harmless creatures. Now, a ram, you better not turn your back. Somebody had a lamb, just an innocent young little lamb. The wrath of the Lamb. See, this is not part of God's natural desire. But if we are rejecting the invitation, then we're insulting. It's the highest insult. It's a waste of his sacrifice. Now, when Jesus asks us to sacrifice somewhere else, something else, and someone else for him, did he do less?
Nope.
How many temptations are there? Only 3 temptations. Everything sort of falls into lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. Jesus in the wilderness, he was tempted by the devil, those 3 principal areas. In the parable, there's 3 things that keep them from the feast. Someone else, somewhere else, something else. Did Jesus set an example for us? Yeah, Jesus gave up his somewhere, something, and someone for us. Did he give up his somewhere? Christ said in Matthew 8:20, foxes have their holes and birds of the air have their nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. Jesus, he stayed in.
So this whole time I've been commenting on how person, place, thing, or idea. There's 4 things. But now I see why he's only been saying person, place, or thing. All persons, places, and things are ideas as well. So that kind of is understandable why he left it at 3, because there were 3 temptations and 3 reasons people weren't at the feast. So There you have it.
In Peter's house. He stayed in Martha's house and Matthew's house for a feast. He had nowhere to lay his head. He gave up somewhere here on this earth. If you're a Christian, the Bible says you are a pilgrim and you are looking for a better inheritance. This is not my home. We're just passing through. That's what Jesus said. Jesus said he does have a place. In my Father's house are many mansions, and I go to prepare what? A place for you there. But our place is not here, so don't let another place, I've got a piece of land I got to go look at, have me excused. Something else. What did Jesus have? Tell me about his possessions. 2 Corinthians 8:9. For you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, for your sake he became poor, that through his poverty you might be rich. When Jesus wanted to make an illustration, he had to borrow a coin. Does anyone have a coin? I want to. He could have picked in his pocket and get his own coin. And there at the cross, they took away his robe. That was his only earthly possession, was the clothes he wore on his back. He didn't have somewhere else. He didn't have something else. And he didn't have someone else. Matthew 12:48. Jesus answered and said to the one who told him, Jesus got a message, your mother and your brothers want to see you. He was preaching. Jesus said, no, this is more important than even my own mother and my brothers. Christ said, who is my mother and who are my brothers? And he stretched out his hand towards his disciples and he said, here are my mothers and my brothers. Whoever does the will of my Father in heaven, he is my mother and my brother and my sister. And even his own friend Peter, when Peter tried to turn Jesus off the mission of the feast, Jesus turned to Peter and said, get behind me, Satan. This is his favorite apostle. Oh, him or John. Get behind me, Satan. Nobody would come between Jesus and God's will. Bible says he came unto his own, John 1:11, and his own received him not. They were not ready for the Messiah. You know, it's hard for us to comprehend what's really being said in this parable. Closest thing I can think of is it's like somebody, you know, I hear about people who meet through online somehow. And guy in America finds a girlfriend that speaks English in Russia. And they begin to talk. And they fall in love online. And they email a photograph of each other. And they talk. And he thinks, oh, she's so eloquent. She's so loving. She's so beautiful. And who can find words? And it melts my heart when I see the way she communicates and hear about what she does. And I think I'd like to marry her. So he proposes online. And she accepts. And he says, when can you come to America?
This is a very good
And she says, well, I can't come. You've got to come here. And he said, well, but I'll lose my job. And I've been working here for 15 years and I'll lose my home. And he said, I can't. She says, well, if you love me. But I can't leave my family. I could never leave my hometown. And he loves her so much. He quits his job. He sells his house, flies to Russia, and she doesn't show up to meet him at the airport. He gets a taxi and goes to her house and finds out, I thought you were kidding. You really came? You know, I've actually got a pretty busy life here. I don't really want to get married. I thought this was just romance online. You weren't serious, were you? And this guy has just sacrificed everything because she accepted the invitation. And to be spurned like that.
Looks like they even have errors.
Have you ever heard of love that turns to hate?
Offer a little early.
Well, this is what a lot of people have done to Jesus. God so loved the world, he gives his son. I mean, he sacrifices more than his house and his job. He comes from the other end of the universe to this dark planet. You'll never know how dark it is until you see the other world. And he does it to save us. And then his people, his church says, we love you, Lord. We're going to follow you. But when it really comes down to surrendering everything to follow Jesus, it doesn't happen. It's all in name only. We draw near with our mouths, but our hearts are far away. And maybe this is something you're struggling with. Maybe there's another person Maybe there's another place, somewhere else you want to be, something else that's keeping you from making a complete surrender and really saying, I want to be in that wedding feast.
Friends, would you win souls if you could? Well, you can.
So I am going to let this play out here to the end, but I would like to point out that this presentation is what convinced me that I need to give up trying to build a business through First Amendment auditing, and is why I will be I'll still continue presenting live streams, but it'll be more like what this live stream has been about. I am going to create a short announcement video to notify everyone that the First Amendment audits that I've done will probably be the last. Possibly there will be others in the future, but maybe not so much called First Amendment audits as much as what I did today kind of thing, or what I'm doing today. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let's finish this. I would like to get somewhere. I probably won't be able to, but we'll see. Here we go.
Please plan now to join me in doing some evangelism this winter. It's easier than you think. Prophecy Encounter will be a major new 10-part evangelistic program that'll be broadcast by satellite and streaming on the internet to homes or churches near you. Hopefully your home or church. From February 17 through 25, I'll be preaching an all-new old-fashioned evangelistic program from Sanford, Florida, and we'll be using the latest technology and fresh illustrations. So all you have to do is open your churches, your homes, invite friends and family, be friendly, pray, and let the power of the Word do the work. The programs will be available on 3ABN, AFTV, Facebook, Roku, and more. You'll be surprised. There are people in your community that are really worried about what's happening in the world, and they're looking for answers. Jesus said the harvest is truly great, but the laborers are few. So pray therefore the Lord of the harvest will send laborers out into his harvest. You can be one of them. So I'd like to encourage you to join us and be praying for the upcoming Prophecy Encounter meetings. For more information, check out www.prophecyencounter.com. And who knows, you might be revived in the process.
You've probably heard the expression before, if you don't like the weather in Texas, just wait, it'll change. And you've also heard everything is bigger in Texas. The ranches, the belt buckles, the cowboy hats. But the most famous slogan about Texas is remember the Alamo. The violent battles and bravery of iconic heroes have been the stuff of legends throughout which entire cultures often draw their identity and pride, even long after centuries have passed. And in Texas, the story of the Alamo has been a rallying cry of Texas independence for 200 years. One reason that Texans love to brag that everything is bigger in Texas is, of course, because Texas is the largest of the lower 48 U.S. states. It's hard to believe that this massive state got its beginning in a very small Christian mission during the Battle of the Alamo. Every year, this famous mission museum receives over 2.5 million visitors from all parts of the planet that are eager to get a good look at this legendary site. The Alamo played a critical role in the Texas Revolution. In December 1835, Texans and Tejano volunteers battled Mexican troops quartered in the city, forcing General Martin Perfecto de Costa to surrender. The victorious volunteers then occupied the Alamo and strengthened its defenses. Famous Americans like Davy Crockett, Jim Bowie, and Colonel William Travis made this location, this ancient mission, the beachhead, the last stand in an epic battle to win independence of Texas from Mexico. On February 23, 1836, the arrival of General Antonio Lopez Santa Anna nearly caught them by surprise. Undaunted, the Texans and Tejanos prepared to defend the Alamo. For this small ragtag group of rebels, the youngest of who was about 16 and the oldest 75, was against the well-trained and organized Mexican army of 6,000 plus soldiers. It was a fierce and lopsided battle, yet the small force of rebels was able to repel the troops for 13 days. Legend holds that with the possibility of additional help fading, Colonel Travis drew a line in the ground with a sword and asked any man willing to stay and fight to step over the line. All except one crossed over. The final assault came before daybreak on the morning of March 6, 1836, the 13th day of the siege. Cannon and small arms fire from inside the Alamo beat back several Mexican attacks. Regrouping, Santa Anna's soldiers scaled the walls and rushed into the compound. The desperate struggle continued until the defenders were overwhelmed. By sunrise, the battle had ended and the garrison was slain. You know, historians may debate some of the details regarding the Battle of the Alamo, but none of them question the incredible sacrifice that was made and the courage that was displayed during that intense conflict. They made the ultimate sacrifice, giving their lives. And this is why the story of the Alamo is so inspiring and so encouraging. You know, and that's why the Bible is so inspiring, friends, because someone was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice and give his life so that you can have freedom and eternal life. Don't you think you could trust your life to a friend like that would give everything? The story of the gospel is a story of courage and hope. It's a story of a God who will never leave you without defense and support. Jesus is the good news, and the gospel is a story worth remembering.
All right, so I'm about to end the stream. I have a place I'd like to go. I might actually just keep the stream going. You can watch me as I go down to where I'm going, but
did you know that Noah was present at the birth of Abraham? Okay, maybe he wasn't in the room,
plus
but he
minutes.
was alive and probably telling stories about his floating zoo. From the creation of the world to the last day events of Revelation, BibleHistory.com is a free resource where you can explore major Bible events and characters, enhance your knowledge of the Bible, and draw closer to God's Word. Go deeper. Visit BibleHistory.com.
For life-changing Christian resources, visit afbookstore.com.
All right, so that was the end of the presentation. It's about the end of my stream. Gonna let their credits go all the way. Give them credit. They do great work. And that's that. Go ahead and remove them from the stream. Okay. Look, I'm really up close. So, whoever's watching, that's going to be the end of it. I'm planning to end the stream now. If you have any final comments or words you want to say, go ahead and do so. I don't know who it is. I mean, it might be you, Cheryl, but I don't know who's still connected. I don't have any stream on my device, so yeah. Oh, nope, it's not me. Yo no sé. Pero es tiempo. I don't know, maybe that's right or not. Para mí, no, not para. Por mí. Forgot what the word for going out was. Anyway, gotta go. So I thank you all for watching. Anyone that did, whoever's still here, thanks for watching the stream. I'm going to stop the banner and go ahead and say thank you to all. Please, I'm not worried about likes, subscribe, comment, all that. That's your choice. But I will say thank you. And I do hope more of you will comment, and I also hope that you'll join me in conversation regarding my beliefs, your beliefs, and all the rest of that. Have a good one.